They told us gun sales would crash in 2025. They told us the Trump Slump 2.0 was inevitable. So why are ammo shelves empty, gun ranges packed, and anti-gun liberals suddenly buying ARs? In this video, we'll talk about how the so-called Trump slump got obliterated before it even started, and why the biggest buyers of guns and ammunition in 2025 aren't who you think. You'll hear what's driving millions of first-time purchases from former prohibitionists, how Reddit, Facebook, and the New York Times accidentally lit the fuse, and what it means when gun culture becomes the new bipartisan norm. From pink slide plates to night vision-equipped civilians in Seattle, the Second Amendment has officially crossed political lines, and the numbers are exploding. We'll unpack the surge in range memberships, the ammo market's panic-level restocking, and the new wave of gun owners reshaping the debate with skill, confidence, and cold logic. If you want to know where things are headed and what you should be doing now to prepare, stay locked in. Back in 2017, the firearms industry learned an expensive lesson. Political calm can be hard on business. After Donald Trump's first victory, the panic vanished, shelves filled up, and pundits coined Trump slump to describe the slide in background checks. Wholesalers overordered, mom-and-pop stores trimmed hours, and several ammunition makers needed short-term loans just to meet payroll. Fast forward to the 2024 cycle, and every analyst predicted an encore. It never arrived. From the moment early vote counts rolled in, NICS checks climbed. December beat the year before. January rose again, and distributors that promised lean inventories begged for truckloads of 9mm. Even voters who once taped no guns signs to porch doors were now enduring 3-hour range orientations. Retailers say it feels like Black Friday in July, driven not by longtime enthusiasts doubling up on lowers, but by people who used to chant for confiscation. Their demand killed Trump Slump 2.0 before it lived, and that demands an answer. Why are yesterday's prohibitionists today's first-time buyers? And what does that mean for every magazine, primer, and head stamp we rely on? A letter to the New York Times cracks the mystery open. A Democrat in a big blue city writes that her husband can't sleep because he imagines politically driven mobs spilling into their neighborhood. She insists she already feels safe, yet he wants a firearm just in case. Her quandary pits decades of brunch table idealism against Maslow's hierarchy the moment riot footage flashes across the screen. She repeats the statistic claiming home gun ownership raises danger, then admits she would hate to regret not having a gun if things collapse. That exchange reveals the dilemma replaying in living rooms nationwide. On one side sits the social reward of condemning firearms, on the other sits the primal drive to protect family. Facebook threads under the article vibrate with the same tension. Some readers vow to leave the country before allowing a pistol in the house. Others ask which model balances capacity and low recoil. A Canadian transplant confesses she bought her first handgun after street crime stickers outnumbered recycling stickers in her red state suburb. Once fear climbs higher than social pressure, purchases follow. Fire extinguishers don't make owners arsonists. Defibrillators don't cause cardiac arrest. When that analogy lands, the barrier shatters, and store clerks hear a familiar pattern. Tentative questions, surprising research, followed by the decisive click of a rented slide going into battery. Scroll through Reddit's r/liberal and you'll spot the post. Am I crazy for considering a gun? The replies shout no. Commenters swap brand advice and training tips instead of moral lectures. A West Virginia resident says his liberal household keeps rifles for bears and burglars. A single woman jokes she couldn't fend off a strong hummingbird, so a pistol levels the field. A Texas mother bought her first handgun after harassment aimed at her trans teenagers. When former skeptics compare 5.56 to 7.62, the market has turned. The biggest commercial range chain logged a 16% jump in beginner classes, most of it from blue state zip codes. Private lesson requests now begin with, "I've never touched a gun, but I don't feel safe anymore." Women and LGBTQ shooters dominate rosters. Instructors call it the rainbow wave, pastel hair, pride patches, zero tolerance for malfunctions. Sales mirror the new clientele. Slim striker pistols and optics-ready carbines vanish first in Portland and Boston. 20-gauge buckshot, long a shelf-sitter, moves by the pallet because recoil-sensitive homeowners still want a shotgun's unmistakable authority. Holsters shaped for leggings outsell duty rigs. Budget AR kits draw cost-conscious newcomers who like building at a kitchen table, and Turkish import pistols disappear thanks to Glock pattern mags. Motivation is personal, not partisan. Owners talk about protecting hormone therapy meds, synagogue parking lots, or just walking the dog without harassment. Targeted fear outweighs decades of messaging that disarmament equals virtue. Once a parent realizes police might be 20 minutes away, a background check feels overdue. Each sale shifts politics. The engineer who spent weekends perfecting reloads won't applaud a mag limit that voids her training. State hearings now feature grandmothers in Birkenstocks beside lobbyists, speaking the same language of self-reliance. Ranges once caricatured as conservative redoubts have become melting pots where optic height over bore matters more than bumper stickers. Propaganda about inevitable chaos fades when a newcomer prints a respectable group. Store owners call the phenomenon déjà vu. In 2020, a virus sparked a rush. Today, ideological tension does the same. Customers leave with pistols, trauma kits, and radios, feeding a preparedness loop that keeps machines running around the clock. Legacy outlets still warn that owning a firearm invites tragedy. Yet the message lands softer now that their readership is arming up. The Times ethicist told the worried couple that guns raise suicide risk and won't help against collapse. Within hours, the paper's Facebook page overflowed with demands for data and explanations of why police carry sidearms if guns are useless. Classic anti-gun claims: guns escalate conflict, defensive use is rare, law enforcement is enough, are cracking. Portland shopkeepers who watched their stores burn, no conflict was already present. The question was whether they stood empty-handed. A video from Los Angeles shows homeowners repelling invaders in seconds, long before sirens arrive. City councils that defund precincts while urging residents to rely on the same understaffed officers expose the contradiction. Social media multiplies every inconsistency. TikTok reels of armed Ukrainian civilians halting invaders amass likes from viewers who previously dismissed militias as cosplay. Suddenly, the Second Amendment looks less archaic and more essential. Hashtags once attached to climate marches now caption First Range Day selfies, pushing viewers towards self-reliance. The safety risk mantra erodes as suicide prevention groups emphasize secure storage and temporary transfers over bans. Threads overflow with liberals coaching newcomers. Buy the safe first, learn state law, take classes, humor finishes the job. Quips like go far enough left and you get your guns back normalize armed self-defense across party lines. Concealed carry classes in deep blue counties sell out weeks ahead. Legal seminars draw overflow crowds, and proficiency replaces fear. Slow-motion draw tutorials, gelatin tests, and candid vlogs spread technique without gatekeepers, moving debate from morality to competence, a language legacy press never mastered. Today's surge echoes 2020. Then, pundits predicted calm, a virus hit, and ammunition vanished. Now riot insurance premiums in major metros climb, mirroring the last spike. Google searches for first gun and gun safe sit at a 4-year high. AmmoSeek shows 9% price growth in 3 months, led by 9mm and 12 gauge. Supply chains never fully recovered. Another jolt could break them. Training demand mirrors the sales curve. A multi-state academy sells out concealed carry classes in an hour, keeping waitlists of dentists and software engineers. In Atlanta, left-leaning clients outnumber conservatives 2-1. Fear has a new focus: politically charged mobs and targeted violence. New buyers see pundits excusing unrest when it suits them, then condemning it when the script flips. Trust evaporates, and self-reliance fills the void. Preparedness now rides shotgun with every firearm. Trauma kits and tourniquets sell almost as fast as mags. Dorm-sized safes arrive via same-day delivery. Solar chargers, radios, and lightweight plate carriers join carts, items few cared about during the original slump. Policy echoes the past. In 2021, several blue state legislatures shelved sweeping bans after testimony from brand-new owners. The same dynamic brews again as committee chairs hear from voters who despise Trump, yet value the pistol they just learned to clear. Industry prepares the old-fashioned way: 3 shifts, rationed primers, frantic emails to overseas suppliers. Consumers quietly stack cases. Wall Street notices. 2 investment banks list ammunition makers among recession-resistant picks. Online auctions that languished last summer now sell M855 in minutes. And gun show tables in New England pivot back to cash-only cases of steel-cased surplus. A feedback loop forms. Fear drives buying. Buying tightens supply. Tight supply breeds more fear, likely through the next midterms. Surveys show trust in government protection at record lows, while faith in personal preparedness peaks. The same mix that fueled the concealed carry boom of the 2000s. Ammunition predicts the future better than polls. 9mm ball, 5.56, and 12-gauge buckshot dry up first. Distributors say pallets of primers leave as fast as they arrive. Powder allotments, once measured in cases, now sell by the pound as reloaders hedge against hikes. If you reload, top off. If you don't, budget for a spare case before holiday travel. Freight companies hauling plated bullets report volumes near pandemic peaks. Drivers who once dropped 3 pallets now unload whole trailers for boutique loaders. Influencers publish stock alerts. Brass collectors monetize restock tips. And Kydex makers double lead times as orders pour in from zip codes that voted for bans 2 years ago. Skill development keeps pace. Apps teaching dry fire and movement drills surge in subscriptions. A generation raised on gaming understands part-time shot clocks and hit factors, turning practice into measurable progress. Repetition builds neural pathways, and pathways produce confident decisions when seconds count. Confidence breeds political conviction. Nobody who spent 100 evenings refining drawstroke wants a legislature to erase that investment with one vote. Should supply heat and training discipline converge, firearm competence will embed deeper in mainstream culture than any past surge. All this reshapes the Second Amendment landscape. When ownership crosses party, gender, and orientation lines, caricatures dissolve. Gun control once advanced by portraying owners as an isolated minority. That strategy fails when hearings feature a vegan schoolteacher arguing capacity limits beside a retired Marine. Varied ownership makes the right more resilient and introduces fresh ideas, innovations in safe storage tech, mental health outreach, and de-escalation training, areas old guard activists sometimes ignored. Laws hinging on fear stumble when voters carry personal experience in their waistband holsters. A legislator targeting guns now risks alienating constituents she once counted on. The expanding tent sparks innovation. Manufacturers design modular stocks adjustable for smaller frames, release pastel slide plates, and sponsor diversity days at outdoor ranges. Inclusion drives sales, sales fund research, research invites more newcomers. Nonprofits blend progressive values with firearms literacy, offering scholarships for women of color to attend defensive pistol camps or pairing self-defense clinics with voter registration drives. At hearings, these participants testify from lived experience, explaining how formal instruction, locked storage, and community mentorship make arbitrary capacity caps irrelevant. That testimony lands differently coming from nurses, rabbis, and software developers who never fit media typecasts. Safety and civic engagement prove compatible, and the market, no longer propelled solely by conservative panic, thrives on a coalition that regards self-defense as an apolitical extension of self-respect. Momentum still gathers where that coalition meets in the real world. Community meetups that once revolved around farmers market coupons or city council petitions now finish with a low-stress range session so newcomers can fire 5 slow rounds, breathe, and feel the recoil they had spent years demonizing. That small ritual matters because it replaces abstract talking points with a tangible understanding of sight picture, trigger press, and safe holstering. When a neighbor realizes that the person holding the pistol is the same volunteer who tutors her kids in algebra, moral panic fizzles. Relationships planted at those events create text loops for ammo alerts, ride shares to training conferences, and even bulk food orders, tying the preparedness mindset to everyday civic life rather than fringe isolation. Industry analysts track the trend by following accessory sales that lag initial gun spikes by about 6 weeks. Once owners have the basics, they add suppressor height sights, weapon lights, and outside-the-waistband holsters for structured classes. Credit card data from 2 major processors shows a 43% jump in electronic hearing protection sales year over year, a reliable indicator that people are leaving static lanes for movement-based drills. Those are the sessions where students learn to communicate under stress, treat a casualty, and argue constitutional history over boxed sandwiches during the lunch break. That hybrid of skill and citizenship rewires the cultural circuitry faster than any lawsuit or ballot initiative because it grows horizontally through friendship networks instead of vertically through party machines. The most promising development might be the rise of cooperative armor ranges where members pay dues in return for shared modern plate carriers, ballistic helmets, and loner night vision. A decade ago, such gear appeared only in specialized law enforcement catalogs. Now, software developers in Seattle schedule weekend night shoots on retired golf courses, and mapping lanes with infrared chem lights and logging hits on thermal cameras. Their social feeds show ordinary citizens embracing layered preparedness while still mailing donations to animal shelters and environmental groups. That overlap terrifies prohibitionists who relied on neat categories. Gun culture's new face makes a prohibition narrative nearly impossible to sustain, and over time, that reality will matter more than any speech on the House floor. The Trump Slump 2.0 didn't just fizzle, it got steamrolled by millions of new gun owners who finally woke up. Liberals, leftists, lifelong skeptics, they're all in. The market's booming, training classes are full, and every aisle of the gun store is packed. Are you seeing it where you live? Are the same people who once mocked the Second Amendment now asking about holsters and optics? Drop your experience in the comments. Then hit like, share this with your crew, subscribe, and click the bell icon, because we're only getting started.